Welcome back to 360 Sports here on this fabulous Monday. We're talking everything college football after a long week of conference championships. I'm Brendan Kirkpatrick, joined alongside my boys Peyton Waddell, Austin Moran, Justina Ricchini. Guys, how was your weekend?
Very
great,
good.
man.
It was all right.
Sat there and watched football pretty much all weekend long.
Yeah, it was awesome.
The results of some of those games did make me a little mad.
But expected, though.
It's all right. Yeah.
We got into a whole debate about that, which I don't know if we can do that here, but it is what it
behind
is.
the scenes,
It is what it is. But, yeah, great weekend watching college football all weekend long, NFL on Sunday, obviously. But this is a college football show, so we're going to stick with that. And as I mentioned earlier, it was conference championship Saturday and Friday, too, because Boise State and UNLV did play that game. So there was a lot that we have to talk about. So let's get into the headlines here. Crazy games. Georgia beat Texas overtime field goal. Clemson had a great drive with the 56-yard field goal to win the game in overtime. Ashton Jeanty, again, proving his Heisman case, and then Oregon beating Penn State in a shootout thriller. So what was your favorite game out of the conference championships? And I guess, what are you guys taking away from this weekend?
My favorite game, even though the result I didn't like, it was the Oregon-Penn State game. This game showed a lot of things for Oregon. Their offense is high-flying. Tez Johnson,
it looked unstoppable.
Yeah, Tez Johnson he got everything you want. I mean, that defense couldn't stop a
nosebleed, like we were saying. Very, very frustrating, obviously, in the Penn State game. But that dude right there, great coach.
He's a bad man.
He's a baller.
A great coach.
Yeah.
I would say probably the best game of the weekend that we didn't even watch because it's the same time as the Penn State game was the SMU Clemson game.
Oh, yeah.
SMU was down 31-14 at the end of the third, came all the way back, obviously lost with that game-winning 56-yard field goal. But somehow Clemson gets in the playoff again. I kind of had a feeling that was going to happen, to be honest with you, with Dabo Swinney, just the way it works. But
exactly. I mean, I'll go with the two best defenses that played this weekend in the country, Texas and Georgia. What a great game that was. Obviously, Carson Beck gets hurt. There's still a question mark about if he's going to be healthy for the college football playoff for their second-round game. He has 3 weeks to get healthy, so he'll probably be back for that game. But Texas looked really good. They didn't get the win, but I think their defense looked really, really good. And Dan Jackson had an incredible hit on Saturday.
Yeah.
We were watching that, an incredible hit. Need that in all these different games because there's so much offense this week that people forgot about the defense. And, Dan Jackson had a really good game. Georgia had a really good game. And Kirby Smart continues to prove why he is just the best coach in college football.
Kirby Smart just continues to show up in these big-time games, no matter what it is. Obviously, earlier in the year, they lost that big game to Bama. And then we're talking about the Texas game earlier on in the year. He shows up in that one, wins the game in dominant fashion, especially defensively. He just somehow rallies these guys to come back and be ready to play every single game, and he's the SEC champion again.
Yeah, props to Georgia. I mean, it's very tough to beat two teams twice, or the same team twice. We all know how that is.
Yeah.
They were able to come in and beat Texas, SEC championships, and, I mean, nothing's new for this team. They just win when it matters. They had a road bump against Alabama, but, Kirby Smart was ready for this game.
It was another loss, Ole Miss.
The funny thing is, though, is after Beck got hurt, people are saying that Georgia's a better team without Beck.
They did have a nice drive. They did have a nice second half.
Everybody in the comments was just like, "Oh, Beck's gone. They're a better team all of a sudden."
Which a lot of people just don't like Beck, to be honest with you.
I know Beck had that stretch there where he threw 12 interceptions in 4 games.
He also
or
had a
whatever.
stretch where he had 12 straight touchdowns.
Yeah, so the last 3 games of the year, he was awesome.
I mean, that's going to happen whenever you're the highest-rated quarterback coming into the season. I mean, everybody thought he'd be the best quarterback. Hasn't lived up to it, and that's just going to happen. Hate's going to happen when you're the best, and that's how it is.
Yeah. I mean, all these games, though, overall were really good. Unbelievable. Unfortunately, I was at a wedding. I really didn't get to watch all of them except the Penn State-Oregon game.
You were texting us a lot of updates.
I texted you.
If we weren't watching.
Thanks for letting us know about the stuff we were watching.
The only thing I texted you guys was
you were confused.
That I had a 5-minute break. I went in. I saw the one play, the Georgia-Texas game where Arch Manning came in, and I was like, "Why did Quinn Ewers get hurt? Like, what's going on here?"
Yeah.
I had no idea what was going on. But the Penn State-Oregon game, great game. I honestly didn't feel like Franklin had that bad of a game as a coach. It was some questionable calls, but it couldn't get the job done in the end. But anyways, let's move on to our next headline here. So probably the hottest topic in all of college football, all of college sports right now is this playoff bracket right here. Alabama being left out, SMU being left in. That's pretty much the big debate right now between Alabama, SMU. How much do conference championships loss matter? The strength of schedule, too, is a big one. That's what Alabama fans are arguing right now. Do you guys think the committee got it right with this, or is there still a bit of question marks regarding what the criteria is to be one of these 12 teams?
They got it right, first of all. I think we
Yeah.
could all agree on that.
They did get it right.
Bama, I know obviously the strength of schedule, they had a tough schedule, but you can't lose to Vandy. Obviously, the Tennessee game was a tough one because Tennessee's a great team. Oklahoma, you got slaughtered. He scored 3 points against Oklahoma.
Yeah, Saban did bring up a good point. After the rankings were out, he did say, what's the point of strength of scheduling if you're going to get punished for those games? Some key losses they had. Let me check. I have it here.
Vandy, Tennessee.
The key wins. Yeah, Vandy and Tennessee. They beat
wins,
Georgia, Missouri, South Carolina. But SMU, you can't punish them for making a conference championship. That's basically what they would have done if Alabama made the playoffs, was punishing them for making a conference championship. Yeah. I know SEC and ACC, two completely different conferences, but you can't punish a team for playing in
and SMU as well. Like their one loss coming into the ACC title game was to BYU, who is, I guess a playoff team for majority of the season until they lost there like 2 in a row, 3 in a row. But no, SMU, they deserve to get in. In the end. And like even if you're ranked number 8 with 1 loss in the conference championship, why even play the game then if you're going to be punished by losing?
Just say I don't want to play and just don't have to worry
like how far down would it go? Because if the SEC didn't want to play, but you got Tennessee right there, you have Alabama, you got Ole Miss, and it would just keep going down until you find it's like a 6-6 team that's going to play in the conference championship.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's just back and forth with that, but they got it right.
Look at Oregon's path. The best team
Penn State got an easier path from losing that game.
Best team in the country, and then they have to play Ohio State and
the winner of that game.
Not good or not favorable.
There's some good games coming up along this bracket too. Indiana,
those are great games. The Battle of Indiana.
I'm excited for that. Those are two teams that you don't really think of them as rivals until you realize they're both in the state of Indiana. Both going to be that's the Friday game, right?
Yeah,
it's a Friday night. Game, huge Friday night lights out there. Clemson, Texas, sneaky game too.
It's a sneaky game. A lot of simulations I saw that had Clemson winning that game. I don't know. It's just so funny to see.
Was it the college football?
Yes, it was Matty Fresh.
I think we're living in a simulation.
Okay. Well, we are all living in a simulation.
And then, the simulation did predict there was snow for that Notre Dame game.
Exactly.
So if you're correct, then that'll be awesome.
He's a weatherman, though.
I basically am. This is a good matchup. This is the best matchup.
That's the best matchup.
At the shoe, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock game. Tennessee's a really good team, really underrated team, and Ohio State has to bounce back. They've had a lot of weeks to kind of think about their loss to Michigan.
Ryan Day finally do it.
He's 0-3.
Tennessee is a tough team. I would not want to play Tennessee right now.
So Ryan Day has not beaten an SEC team ever.
SEC top defense in the country, great running back.
Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a tough one. But let's move on here to our next segment, and we had it renamed for the sake of the 4 of us. College football playoff, boom or doom. So instead of ranking chicken bakes and double chunk chocolate cookies, we're going to be ranking college football players on the boom or doom meter.
We're at the Willard Building, not Costco. That's in our commercial.
Shout out Rival Radio. Inside Easter egg there from Com Radio.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Boom or doom. And so we're going to be rating players in the college football playoff on the boom meter and doom meter to see how they'll perform in the big dance. So I believe the order is Justino, Austin, Peyton, and finally me. So Justino,
all right,
let's see.
No one's going to like my first pick. No one's going to like my boom, but I really like the guy that I have for my boom, Kevin Jennings, SMU. He's going to be taking on Penn State in Happy Valley in this one on Saturday at noon. But Kevin Jennings is absolutely electric. Go look up his stats, and you will find that they are eerily similar to that of Drew Allers.
And he didn't play in like the first 2 games of the year, too.
Kevin Jennings has been absolutely electric. They came back in this game for a reason. They're one of the most explosive offenses in the entire country. If it wasn't for a 56-yard field goal, they wouldn't even be in this position. They'd have a bye in the top 4 seeds. So he's been really tremendous. And I don't know if we want to do this, but he gets 5 big booms.
You got to do it. You're the one on the board.
Booms. Boom, 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 boom.
There we go.
Now we get to our
boom. To see.
Curtis Rourke. He got the worst hand dealt to him, going to Notre Dame to play one of the best defenses in the entire country in the Fighting Irish. Xavier Watts has been tremendous for this Notre Dame defense. They have so many big playmakers on that defensive line as well. And Indiana just hasn't played anybody. The only team they played was Ohio State, and they got boat raced in that game. This is a very good Notre Dame team. This is a Notre Dame team that you do not want to see at all in the playoff. They're a really sneaky team, and they might go all the way. Indiana just didn't get a good draw. Curt Cignetti has done a tremendous job with this team. Should probably win Coach of the Year, but I mean, Indiana just did not get a good draw. So I don't know what we want to do for the Doom.
Just gets a big doom.
Big doom.
It's a big
Just
doom.
say that.
Big Doom. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah,
I did not do
we'll
that.
see.
Very
We'll
well.
see how he matches up against Notre Dame
The-
secondary. Obviously, it's one of the top defenses in the
premier.
country.
The
So.
Kevin Jennings pick, it's kind of sneaky too, because Penn State really hasn't played a true quarterback like Jennings yet this season.
Yeah,
I mean, Altmaier and Dylan
I don't
Gabriel are the
forget about
closest
Howard,
they played. Yeah, Mhm.
Howard and Gabriel.
Howard, Gabriel, Altmaier thrown there too. So we'll see. We'll see how it does. It could be a little bit sneaky there.
You were
Austin.
talking, just so you know, you were talking about
So
the
Jeff.
Notre Dame defense. I'm going to go here. Notre Dame offense, their backfield, absolutely unbelievable. Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price, unbelievable for Notre Dame this season. He has almost 1,000 yards rushing on the year. Notre Dame's offense has been great as well, especially running the ball. I know you like him, Casino.
I
too.
do. Yeah.
He's a great player.
Is he the one that hurdled someone?
Yeah, that was him.
over- yeah.
He's unbelievable. So he gets 5 big booms. Boom, 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 boom. Now for my doom. Quinn Ewers. There's been articles around after the SEC title game that Texas fans want him out of here and Arch Manning in. I don't really know, but this dude hasn't really performed when he's needed to. Obviously, 360 yards this past weekend in the SEC title game, 1 touchdown passing. But they got the ball in opposition territory many times. They haven't really done anything with it against Georgia. 2 interceptions. He's turned the ball over way too much this season. So Quinn Ewers, big doom. Texas's offense, I don't know. I think it has a chance to be shaky against Clemson, especially with Clemson's great defense.
Yeah.
So Quinn Ewers, big doom.
Yeah,
Ewers, no one likes Ewers at Texas, it seems. They all like Arch Manning.
Yeah, this
no
was-
one likes Ewers.
It's kind of
for the
fitting because
namesake, too.
Arch
I mean,
Manning
yeah,
might start. Who knows? It's
I mean, it's
He
It's
might,
been
but I
rough.
wouldn't start him just because
wouldn't either.
I wouldn't
wouldn't
either. But
No.
I think Ewers has played fine.
there was times in the SEC title game where he kind of ran himself into a couple sacks. He was sacked 6 times.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, it needs to clean it up for sure.
Mhm.
But all right, I think I'm next. And for my big boom, we're gonna go down to Georgia. And I have Mikael Williams, but you can also go Jalen Walker. I mean, this defensive line is just phenomenal. Mikael Williams has 5 sacks, 20 tackles, and Walker, I think, has 6.5 sacks, like upwards close to 50 tackles. So they've been balling, and they're all over the field in Texas and against Texas both times. So I'm gonna give Georgia 5 big booms. Boom, 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 ba 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 ba, boom.
What's that coming down the track?
What's that coming down the track?
It's the mean machine in the red and black.
It's the mean machine in the red and black.
Ain't nothing finer in the land
Nothing finer in the land
Than a drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan.
than the drunk, obnoxious Georgia fans. Shout out
Dogs.
Pat McAfee. So now let's go to my doom. This is Caleb Downs, is what they say in Inter City, but it's what
please
normally people would say. It's just Caleb Downs. He was a Bama transfer, transferred actually 7 days after Saban left, and he only has 1 interception this year. He does have half a sack, which is kind of impressive for a safety. It's only 60 tackles and 3 pass deflections, so he's been struggling this year. So he's going to be a big doom for me. So
Yeah.
I
I
decided
like the
that.
Georgia pick. Yeah, I like
The
the
Georgia-
Georgia
the
pick.
Georgia
We had
pick
to
was
shout
good.
out Pat McAfee.
Mhm.
I decided
And that
I'll shout out
2-0,
the end.
2-0 in his
that
predictions.
D line of Georgia absolutely demolished Texas once again for the second time
Yeah.
this year.
All right. We're going to go to my picks here. The first one, really like how he's been playing towards the end of the year here. It's Abdul Carter of Penn State. We saw him get after the quarterback against Oregon, played really well as the defense really didn't. He was a lone bright spot in that game on terms of the defensive side for Penn State. I think he's going to have a great playoff, especially with how him and his draft stock have been going up and up since the middle of the year. He's on a tear right now, and he's going to get 5 big booms right here. Boom, 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 ba 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 ba. Boom.
That's a homer pick.
I don't think so. Next
No,
one.
he's a great player.
Quinshon
Yeah,
Judkins. He only had 46 rushing yards against Michigan, and their pretty solid defense on 12 carries. He now gets a Tennessee defense. That's the fourth best defense in the country. They haven't allowed 100 yards to a rusher in, I think, 5 weeks. It's not a great spot for him. Not a great spot for this Ohio State offense against Tennessee. And he is going to get a big doom. I just don't trust him in this game, especially with how they played against Michigan. Again, another tough defense here. They shut him down. They shut this Ohio State offense down. Not really too high on Quinshon Judkins heading into the playoff.
Doom.
Yeah, and as long as
Big
Judkins doesn't play Penn State, I think that's a safe pick because he
Yeah.
decides to have his greatest games against us. But lucky for Ohio State, they also have another 5-star running back, and they probably have 3 more coming down in the class. Like
Henderson's been there
Henderson's
forever.
been there forever.
Yeah.
He's been there forever. He's
Forever.
been there since, I think, Justin Fields was the quarterback. I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah,
He's there.
yeah, he
He's
was.
been
There's
there
a lot of
forever.
players that have been at their teams.
He's seen
forever
4
now in this
quarterbacks
playoff. Yeah,
since he's been there.
It's crazy.
Which is absolutely insane.
still
He's a
ring
tough
chasing in
pass though
college
against
football.
Tennessee's defense.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're going to move on to sleeper squads. So there's 12 teams, obviously, in the college football playoff, which means there are definitely some teams that are better than the others, and there's always going to be some sleeper teams when people are talking about who they think's going to win. So I want to go around the table here.
I think it's the same order.
I think it's the same order.
Justino.
Yeah, same order. So Justino, you'll go first, and we're going to give who you think is a big sleeper pick to win the college football playoff.
Yeah, I don't know if it's
Or-
coming up on the board, but there it is. I went with Tennessee. I think the Volunteers are a really underrated team, a really sneaky team in this whole college football playoff landscape because if they win that game against Ohio State, whichever team wins, I think it'll be Tennessee. They're going to go on a big time run, I think, because honestly, I don't think Oregon's going to win their next game. I'm just going to put that out there. I think they lose to Tennessee or Ohio State. I'm just being honest. I think that 3-week bye is going to haunt teams that get it because the conference title champion gets 3 weeks off. They get this week, next week, and the week after off. They get 3 weeks to prepare. So you basically have to sit there and you're going in cold. It's like the NFL playoffs. You're going in cold to these games. We've seen top teams go down before, and I think we see it again. Tennessee's a really underrated team. Their defense has been top 5 in the country all season long. If it wasn't for Ginty, Dylan Sampson would be one of the best running backs in the country. He's been absolutely insane. 22 rushing touchdowns and almost 1,500 yards on the season. So argue with him or Scatabo would be 1 and 2, and sort of right behind Ginty. But and then if Nico Iamaleava, I finally pronounced it right. If he can finally, develop and have some good games, I think they can be really scary.
I agree.
I was gonna pick Tennessee for this. I just kind of felt like a lot of people were picking them, and so I don't know how much of a dark horse you'd
I
really
picked
consider
Tennessee
them,
to
but
win
that's a
all
good pick.
for the pre-show
Yeah,
thing, whatever.
Yeah, and if Tennessee
Social media.
wins against these next 2 rounds, say they win the next 2 rounds, this might be one of the most impressive runs they'll
'Cause
have.
if they win,
Yeah.
if they
Well,
beat
if they
Ohio
beat
State,
Ohio State,
they
they
play
play
Oregon.
Oregon. If
Yeah.
they beat Oregon, I don't think there's a team that can really stop them. But we'll
That
see.
defense is elite.
Yeah, very, very good team.
You might have some takes about this, so I'm gonna go with Notre Dame. Obviously, there's a lot of controversy with this. They can't win the big game, this and that. Obviously, they lost to Northern Illinois earlier in the year, but they were dominant against Texas A&M. They smashed Louisville. They beat USC on the road, which is tough, and they killed Army, who just won their conference.
And Navy. They
They beat
kicked both
Navy
of them
too.
out.
Yeah, they blew them out of the water. They're great on both sides of the ball, obviously on both fronts. O-line's unbelievable. Running game's unbelievable, like I just talked about. The D-line's good. The secondary's good. We highlighted that before. Under Marcus Freeman, 11 ranked wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
really
this
that
impressive.
was-
isn't
that
the
was
same
a-
team that's
Brian
being
Kelly.
coached by Brian Kelly, who can't win a big game.
Mhm.
So Notre Dame obviously playing Indiana. And then after that, they'd play maybe a Carson Beckless Georgia team. So
Yeah.
the Irish have a chance to go
Let's
on
see.
a little run here.
Yeah,
Notre Dame
no,
was
I
good.
mean, I feel like Notre Dame, the program as a whole, has been ruined by Brian Kelly and because you see the same things that you see with Penn State. They
Yep.
can't win the big game. Marcus Freeman's a
We got a
completely
new guy
different
here
coach.
now,
We gotta start changing the narratives on
Yes,
Marcus Freeman here.
Yeah, and with
They're
them not
really
being in a
complete team.
conference, it's also
That's
Yeah.
tough
Well,
because
that's
they're never
right,
they're
'cause
never
with-
going to
It
get
helps
by.
them a lot.
If they just lose
Yeah.
one game every year, they'll be in every single
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
So,
And that loss to
maybe
Northern
even two.
Illinois was week 4. You got to throw that out the
and-
window by now.
yeah, just like that. They beat
Yeah,
the brakes off Louisville. who-
Exactly.
Yeah. After that game, after
Offensive
that loss, they were insane.
They always do this every year too. They lose to like a group of 5 team that not supposed to, and then they come back and
Mhm.
play well. So,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, Peyton.
Yeah, so my pick is Clemson. Dabo Swinney before this college football playoffs came in and said, I think we were the first ever undefeated team. What if we be the first ever 3-loss team? And I got thinking, I mean, we all know they got smoked by Georgia week 1. Their other losses are Louisville and South Carolina, which two great teams. But this is a team that has nothing to play for basically in this championship because they weren't even supposed to be in here. And the teams that are scariest have nothing to play for. We all know Dabo Swinney, when he had Trevor Lawrence, those teams are off the walls. When he had Deshaun Watson, those teams were great. But he has nothing to play for, and that's why I like Clemson in this tournament.
I kind of agree with you, too, because they're playing Texas. Klubnik's from Austin, too, going back home. I think he played Ewers in high school, too.
Yeah.
So there's a little backstory to this matchup. It's just there's something funny about Sweeney in the playoff.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He doesn't really seem to
what it
care
is.
that much,
And
for some
especially
reason.
with Texas's offense, too. And their defense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Who knows?
It's just going to be a big test against Texas's defense, I think, because I think you saw this weekend the two best defenses in the country. You saw who they were. I mean, it's pretty obvious. So that's going to be a big test. But I don't think Sweeney really cares that he's already won 2 titles. I don't think he cares that much.
It's also like
He doesn't care.
I
I mean,
wouldn't
he
say
doesn't
that.
use the
I'm
transfer
saying he doesn't
portal.
care as much as he like those teams in 2018 and 2016. There's more stress on them to win it all. Right now,
Yeah,
the stress
that's
on
teams
them
like
to win it all.
because
teams
this was
already.
a team that if they lost their conference championship, they weren't getting into the playoffs.
Yeah, they needed Miami.
Now
to
they're
help
here.
them
Now
out.
they're the 3
Nothing
seed.
to play for, my scariest team.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, my pick here. It's not a homer pick. It's Penn State. It's not. Trust me.
Not a
They're
homer
gonna
pick as we go there.
as we go. It's not. Yeah. No, we're not. We're not doing the homer pick. They have an easy schedule to play through. They get SMU. They get Boise State. And then it gets a little bit iffy. I really don't trust James Franklin past that point. But if you want to talk about a team, a dark horse that has a great path to make it, it's a very realistic path that we could see Penn State in the semifinals of the playoff, especially with how everything goes. I really hope James Franklin just something switches in his head and he finally wins a big game. I don't see it happening. I agree with you, Austin. But maybe something happens. But the easiest path here, Penn State. And that's going to be my pick.
We should be
Yeah.
blessed that SMU's not a top 10 team, or else we would definitely lose.
Exactly.
He's still got a coach.
What about-
Lashley though?
He will get out coached, but I think
Maybe
talent
the talent
wins.
will,
Yeah, the
maybe
talent
the talent
might.
will prevail.
Yeah.
Is
Yes.
Boise State number 10, right?
Well, I don't. They're not top 10 in like the AP poll. They're like number 11 or 12.
Speaking of
I think they're
talent,
9 now.
speaking
Okay,
of talent,
okay.
this guy deserves to be in New York. Get
Yeah.
this guy in the
I don't know
Heisman.
how many people
Well,
they take.
it'll
Triple
probably,
threat
We'll have that
Tyler.
conversation soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's
Anyways.
having a heck of a season.
But yeah,
Speaking-
he might be the 5th guy.
Speaking of New York, and where everybody goes for the awards, we are talking about award predictions here. So there's three awards here that we're going to discuss, go through, see who you guys have winning the awards. These are the 3 closest races probably amongst all of the several college football awards that they give out. So we'll start with the Biletnikoff between Tedero McMillan, Travis Hunter, and Nick Nash. Who do you guys
Yeah,
think's winning here?
Hunter.
I mean,
No,
Travis
no,
Hunter.
well, he's going to win it.
He's gonna win.
Here's
it.
the thing with Travis Hunter. This is specifically a receiver award. I hope they don't put this defensive stuff like into perspective.
I'm sure they won't.
Leave
But
that to
he has,
Heisman.
look, he has 92 catches for 1,152 yards and 14 TDs.
Listen to these stats Nick Nash has: 104 catches, 1,382 yards, and 16 touchdowns.
Who's he play?
I don't.
Exactly. That's-
He's putting up the numbers. That's all that matters. And I like McMillan. He's a freak. He's 6'5", but Nick Nash, the stats are there.
Yeah, the
Right-
stats are there
right
for
in front of
Nash,
you.
and
Yeah,
the
but it's
brand
gonna
is there.
be
The
Hunter.
brand,
It's
the
gonna
brand is Hunter. That's
Yeah,
why they're going to give it
exactly.
to Hunter.
Yeah,
It's a
Publicity.
brand
I
thing for
agree.
It's
this.
the publicity.
Yeah, it's a classic Deion Sanders
It also
speech.
helps that this was a Colorado team that was in the top 25 for the
Yeah.
back half of the season. Arizona kind of fell out of the race, losing a couple of games.
Arizona did not.
San Jose State was a group of 5, mediocre Mountain West team. I think it's going to Hunter, but we'll see. We'll see what they decide to do here. Anyways, we're going to move on to the Davey O'Brien Award for the best
This one's
quarterback
really
in the
interesting.
country. This
It
one's
is.
really
Mhm.
interesting. This is probably the closest one. Shadur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, and Cam Ward, all with great stats this season, all played out of their minds.
It honestly should go
It's
to
gonna be
Cam
tough.
Ward, but again, the
It's-
Shador
I
thing
think
again.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
it's
think,
a
I think,
Shador
I
thing
think
again.
it should go to Cam Ward based on the stats.
Cam Ward's played insane
But-
this year. He fell off
yeah.
towards the end, but I mean, that's
Yeah.
his defense fell off
He
towards
had
the
no,
end.
they had no
Yeah,
defense
that's what I
last
mean.
season.
They almost lost to Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
should have lost.
Sanders,
lost.
top 5 pick. Dylan Gabriel leading the Oregon to the number 1 seed. But
Yeah.
Cam Ward's stats are better. They
Mhm.
kind of have to. They don't have to, but
They
They
probably
give
should.
it to
yeah.
Ward. Yeah.
Miami
I'd say
played themselves.
36 touchdowns.
See, this
7
would have easily went to
interceptions.
Ward if you just take care of business against Syracuse. I mean, come on. If they
And
win that game,
it
it
would've
easily
been
goes to
Canton.
him. And the
I
Heisman,
believe
he'd be in New
Ward
York.
had the best QBR this season.
Yeah, number one in the country.
Gabriel was second, and Shador was like way on, like 17th or something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I mean, Shador deserves to be there. The problem is he's not. He shouldn't win it.
Wasn't Colorado like sending out like pamphlets to all the voters or like boxes to the voters of like why you should vote for Hunter and Shador for these awards and stuff?
Well, he is. They are going to the Raiders. Shador is at least.
We'll see.
That's that. I mean,
NFL
that's
draft
your
is crazy.
prediction?
Yeah,
That's your
going
prediction.
to happen.
That's a whole completely separate show.
December
that
9th,
we'll
that's your
cover
prediction.
in
Yeah.
All right.
whatever month of the year the draft is. Anyways,
April.
the big award of college football, the one everybody knows, it's the Heisman. Between these four players, Cam Moore, Dylan Gabriel, then we throw in Ashton Jeanty in here and then bring back Travis Hunter for this award. Really kind of a two-man race between Ashton Jeanty and Travis Hunter at this point. Both quarterbacks have kind of fallen off. We're going to see more of Jeanty this year. Travis Hunter's season, outside of a bowl game if he plays, is over. So who do you think's kind of snagging that award?
I think we all know it's going to be Hunter.
Here's the thing:
But it's
Hunter
sad that it's
having a
him,
phenomenal
which-
season, playing both sides of the ball, obviously. But Jeanty is literally
He's going to break Sanders' record.
this is
It should-
history
let's just
right here. It's
Make
like-
it clear. It should be Genty, right? Should
Gen-
be.
Yeah.
I mean,
if he
this
breaks
is
a
all
record,
time.
you get the Heisman. In my opinion, I don't think it really matters with the whole.
I don't know. I just
because-
feel like with the whole Colorado and the social media and all that, and just Travis Hunter
well,
in general.
what Travis
it's-
Hunter is doing, we haven't seen to this degree of all. Ever.
That's like the big
that too, but
the problem is
and he's doing it
records
at
are
a high
different
level.
than-
yeah.
throw out records in these awards. If records mean something, then
I'm
Gabriel's
saying
gonna
record
win.
like all-time records. Like if he breaks the
Yeah.
all-time record, he
Which
deserves
he's
to win
going.
it.
He's going to.
That's the thing, because if he doesn't break it, like let's just say he doesn't somehow, if he doesn't break it in their next game and they lose, then they would.
How
give it
far
to
away
Hunter.
is he?
They'd
Like
give it to Hunter if he doesn't
137
break
or
it.
something.
Because
He'll get that one
Melvin
game.
we'll
Gordon
get that. Yeah, we'll get that. In the
had
first
has
half.
I don't know had 2,400 rush yards one year and he
Mhm.
didn't get
He
it.
didn't
So
get
I
it.
mean, like this, we've seen it before. I
Who
don't
won it
like
that
it,
year
but
though with Melvin Gordon?
it was Mariota that
Yeah,
won it
that's-
that year.
it's a
That's what I
different
mean.
situation,
That's
though.
what I mean. If he has, I think he has to break the record though. He has to.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: Oklahoma State, when Barry Sanders was there, is a lot different than Boise State. Like in general, they are a really good team. They're in the playoff. It's not a Power 5 program. They're a Power
Yeah,
4
but
program.
the thing is, though, is you can make that argument about who he's played and why hasn't nobody else done it there.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
That's why.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: a lot of the year I was on team for Travis Hunter just because I think that we hadn't seen anything he was doing. But the more Jeanty put up yards, the more it kind of swayed the opinion I
Yeah.
had for a while.
But if you bring in teams who played, then I don't want to hear the same thing with Nick Nash when he doesn't win the award.
yeah, well, that's why Hunter's easily going to win that Biletnikoff. But the problem is he shouldn't win this. I mean, I know who you
Yeah,
want
we
to see
all-
on the screen. And you want to see Warren on
Oh,
this.
Yeah,
one.
Yeah.
it's number
He's
5.
broke every record in the Big
Yeah.
Ten this year.
He's going to be on the outside.
Yeah.
Tight ends just don't
no
get
no
any love.
invite to New York.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But yeah, that's it. That's the 360 Sports.
Winning it all.
I was just going to ask that to them actually.
We kind of talked
so we'll
about
start
this before the show. I'll go.
Just go around the table. 'cause, you know,
Listen, I was going to pick Tennessee too. They're another team I think could probably win it all, but I'm going to go with Texas simply because what you've seen from that defense, they're gonna be angry. Steve Sarkisian's angry. He's lost to Georgia twice. And the thing about Texas is they win this game against Clemson, which a lot of people are. There's a lot of noise around Texas losing this game. You win this game, I think you set yourself up to play in a really good position.
I'm
my
gonna
eyes.
go Tennessee. I know
Yeah.
you're high on Tennessee.
I am high on them too. I
Great
would pick
defense,
them,
great
too.
run game.
Yeah.
If Nico can just make the throws, I think Tennessee's.
I think
destined
an
for-
SEC
for
team
glory.
has a really good chance.
Yeah, as much as I want to pick Penn State, I'm going to go with Georgia. I mean, until somebody proves that beat
That's
Kirby
fair.
Smart, this
That's
is like
fair.
the NFL
Yeah.
with Pat Mahomes. Until somebody
Yeah.
proves me that he can do it,
in the playoff.
I'm going to go
Yeah,
Georgia.
it took a legacy game from Alabama to beat them, and then the Ole Miss game they just got out. I mean,
They just-
one game you got outplayed.
yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just one game.
You beat Texas twice.
Yeah,
so-
exactly.
Mhm.
I'm going with you, Austin. I think Tennessee. That was going to be my pick for the dark horse. If I really thought that they were a dark horse, I don't think they are. Though a lot of people are picking them for a reason. Their defense is going to show up, show out. Give me a good old Rocky Top. But that's going to be it for the show today. College football. In 2 weeks here, we'll be playing the first round of the college football playoff. But
Let's
until
go.
then, make sure you watch our hockey show tomorrow, the final show of the 360 Sports semester. Thank you for everyone who's been watching, following us on social media. And we will see you
Let's
all
go.
tomorrow.
Bring the boom.